What's up, guys? So right now it's college decision time, which means that most high school seniors are figuring out where they're going to spend the next 4 years of their lives. For those of you who have already committed to a school, congratulations. Regardless of which school you picked, I'm sure you guys will have a great 4 years. And for those of you who are still thinking about where you want to go to college, I wish you the best of luck, and if you're deciding between U of R and another school, check out this video to see 5 reasons why I picked University of Rochester. It'll be in the card, I think, over here, I'm not too sure. Anyway, I want to make this video for all of you who are preparing for your freshman year. Now, I know freshman year is a long ways away, and it may be even longer depending on what happens in the United States and the world over the next few months, but even so, I want to give you guys 5 tips to make the most of your freshman year. Now, these are 5 things I learned over the course of my freshman year, and hopefully you guys can hit the ground running and use some of these tips in your daily routine to make the most of your freshman year, whether that be online or on campus. Now, many of these tips may seem really obvious, but I promise you, when you get to college, it can be an extremely overwhelming time, and you might forget some of these things that I'm going to mention. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, the first and probably most important tip I can give you to make the most of your freshman year is to sleep early and wake up early. Now, like I said, this may seem fairly obvious, but the morning is actually the perfect time to get all of your work done so that you have the rest of your afternoon and evening to do whatever you want. A great way to do this is to schedule all of your classes in the late morning to early afternoon times. During my first semester, I made the mistake of scheduling my classes later in the day because I felt like I could sleep in more. This led to me staying awake much later than I probably should have, and in turn this made it a lot more difficult for me to get work done in the afternoon. Now, when I say early, I definitely don't mean 5 or 6 a.m. If you want to wake up that early, you could totally do that. But when I say early, I really mean anywhere from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Waking up early in the morning and finishing a lot of your things to do helps you build up momentum to carry it through to the rest of the day until it becomes night and you're able to go to sleep much earlier. When I say early again, I don't mean super early like 7 or 8 p.m. I really mean anywhere between 11 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. Now, of course, you're free to spend time with your friends and even stay up later than you probably should, but you definitely want to make sure that you establish a routine that you can follow. Now, the second most important tip I can give you is to go to class. Again, this may seem obvious, but going to class is a really great way to stay on top of your schoolwork and also make sure you have a solid understanding of everything you're learning in class. It can be really difficult to catch up with recorded lectures, and you definitely won't retain the information as well as if you went to class. Now, when I say class, I also mean labs, recitations, and basically anything else associated with the course. One really helpful way to make sure that you're understanding everything you're learning in class is to go to office hours. Office hours are a really underrated way to not only get to know your professor, but get help on everything you might be confused with. This is a really great way to get those extra points for homework and to make sure that even if you don't do that well on a test, you have other participation points that'll help compensate for your grade. Now, the third most important tip is to be intentional about studying. You want to dedicate your study time to purely studying and nothing else. I know you might be thinking that spending 6 hours straight studying just doesn't really make sense, but you actually don't have to study for that long in order to properly retain the information. The key is to study smart, not study long. I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but it really applies when it comes to college. Studying for long periods of time is very difficult, especially when you might not necessarily have the attention span to do it. Instead, you should dedicate 1 to 2 hour study sessions where all you do is study and work through problems. After you finish your study session, you can take a break, but during that break, do not think about studying at all. This might seem counterintuitive, but the more you force your brain to think about studying, the more tired it'll become over time. That's why sometimes if you're taking a break but you're still thinking about schoolwork, when you go back to studying, it's a lot more difficult to get started. Instead, during or after your study session, you should dedicate time to just take a break and not think about your work. This gives your brain a chance to reset so that the next time you go back to studying, you'll find it's a lot easier to get started. If you study smart instead of studying long, you'll find yourself less exhausted, and you'll also find that it's a lot easier to understand the material you're learning. Now, my fourth most important tip is to get involved in something. Now, this tip is actually twofold. Not only does getting involved in something give you a chance to really immerse yourself in the college community, it also leaves you with less time to waste and slack off. Now, I find that when I have activities to get involved in, I'm more motivated to continue working throughout the day rather than slack off somewhere in the middle. It's also a really great way to get involved in the college community and see what you like to do. Getting involved in different types of clubs and organizations can be a really great way to explore your interests and try out things you didn't do in high school. Not only is getting involved really great for being a well-rounded student, but you also find yourself more motivated to just do things instead of slacking off. Now, the fifth most important tip is, of course, to find a routine that works for you. Everyone's schedule is different and everyone has a different way of working. So you want to find a schedule that works for you and stick to it. The most important thing is to be consistent. When you're not consistent, you'll find that you have less motivation to do things and you'll tend to get tired more easily. Of course, through a trial and error process, I find that I do the best when I'm involved in activities, waking up early, and doing a lot with my time. But if that routine doesn't work for you, find something that does and stick to it so that you don't lose motivation as easily. Alright guys, hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with your friends so that they can benefit from it too. Also, if you like this video, maybe you'll like some of my others, so please feel free to check out my channel and subscribe if you like it. You don't have to, but I definitely appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I post a couple of videos every single week. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.